Recorded at the WNDU 16 News Now studios, this is the South Bend Tribune's Pot of Gold Notre Dame football podcast. Here are your hosts, columnist Tom Noie, Notre Dame football beat writer Mike Baradino, and WNDU's Jackson Neill.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
Yeah, that's a passing grade, right?
Do we have a picture of the chair? There we go. There is the Mike Baradino Memorial Chair. Mike will not be joining us today. He is still somewhere traversing through Northern California after Notre Dame winds up the regular season at Stanford on Saturday night. And my first question, Jackson Neill, where were you at 2:07 a.m. on Sunday morning?
Trying to stay awake in my apartment as I watched that game. It was got kind of boring there.
Kind of boring?
Yeah.
Kind of boring. Did you know that the ESPN announcers had a debate on whether or not Notre Dame should go to the CFP? Did you hear that?
I did. Yeah, I picked up on that. Okay. Yeah, that's been something that a lot of people have been talking about. It feels like everyone.
We may, depending on how this whole thing goes with just the two of us, hit the Stanford wrap up a little bit. Notre Dame wins 49-20. They were up 35-3 at halftime. But we have more important matters to get to than beating a Stanford team that honestly stinks.
Yeah,
they're not very good. So we'll shelve Stanford for now, because everybody in podcast universe, Jackson Neill, wants to know, are they in? What's going on? What do you think?
I mean, a lot of people, like the general consensus is they seem pretty safe. It's the BYU question of it all. Does BYU beat Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship? I'm a little more skeptical that they're as safe being in as most.
And your skepticism centers around what? Other than, like, it's very simple. And I told one of your colleagues, Josh Short, coming up here, it's simple. If BYU wins, Notre Dame's probably out, right? BYU playing Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. BYU did not show well against Texas Tech earlier in the year in Lubbock. Texas Tech won that game. BYU's 11-1. And BYU is currently ranked behind Notre Dame in the latest CFP rankings, which were released Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. BYU's at number 11. Notre Dame's at number 10. So the easiest explanation when people say, what do you think? Pull out all your BYU gear and root like heck or pull out all your Texas Tech gear.
Exactly.
And root like heck that BYU does not win that game. Because if they do, Notre Dame's going to Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yeah, that's what it certainly feels like. And if you want to go by Las Vegas right now, basically Notre Dame's chance to make the playoffs is like directly correlated with BYU's money line to win that Big 12 championship, basically saying that Las Vegas views it the same way. What I get worried about is, what if BYU drops if they lose to Texas Tech?
Lose big or just lose?
Lose big. I think if they just lose by less than 10 points, I think they're just probably staying put at 11. The rankings stay there. But again, if you want to go by Vegas, like Texas Tech is considered like a 2-touchdown favorite. Like, this is a game that Texas Tech could win and could win big. I mean, they are a better football team, in my opinion, than BYU. If BYU gets outclassed in this game, do they move down? And then that brings up, you know what I'm about to say, Tom.
That team from South Florida.
Where,
oh, by the way, if you have about 17 hours free in your day, you can go to the ACC network, because I don't know if you know this, Jackson. They're replaying that game 13 times.
I forget the number. I was checking
17 times.
We have the ACC network on the TV in our office, and I was checking and just like scrolling through like the channel guide. It is ridiculous.
It is.
The full court press of PR. Even Marco Rubio is getting in on. I don't know if you saw that. He's got in on it with Miami.
I checked out when Chuck Todd's checking in. Like,
yeah, if
Chuck Todd has an opinion on the college football playoff, I'm out.
That's completely agree. It's gotten to kind of a crazy point, but the one thing that makes me think that this is a possibility is last night on the selection show, they were asking the committee basically, is that Hunter Yurachek they have on that show? Yeah, Hunter Yurachek, they were asking him, okay, if a team is idle, can they still move? Basically getting at the whole, if BYU drops and then it's Miami, Notre Dame right next to each other, Could Miami then jump Notre Dame because it's easier to do the head-to-head if they're right next to each other? And Hunter Yurachek said that's possible. Now, sometimes do I wonder if they're just trying to maybe juice the interest by saying it's possible? I completely buy into that argument. But you have to admit, if you do have the teams right next to each other, that head-to-head becomes a lot more glaring.
But does it really? Like, that's the simple explanation is, well, it was head-to-head. Miami beats Notre Dame head-to-head. Therefore, Miami's a better team. But then you're discounting the entire 2025 regular season schedule by saying, now I get it. If Notre Dame went to South Florida in week 10 and lost to Miami, then Miami deserves to be in over Notre Dame. But that was week 1, and you cannot argue if you're on the selection committee, if you're even a Miami fan, you cannot argue, well, maybe they would.
Yeah.
That Notre Dame's a better football team at this stage than Miami. Miami was good in August. Mm-hmm. But in December, I'm picking Notre Dame over Miami.
I completely agree. I think right now Notre Dame is definitely a better football team. However, the only thing I will say to that, and that whole argument of, like, because you're right, if this had happened in week 10 or whatever, is that, okay, I get that it was week 1. It was in August. It wasn't even in September. It was in August.
It was. Last day in August.
But if we then start using that argument, then I want to know what's the week when it starts to matter then. You know? Like, it's like, if this is all supposed to be regular season games, if we went down there, we covered that game, we're like, all talking about this game, like, this game matters, this is a regular season game, and then we get to the end of the season, it's like, oh, this is actually too early. That's where you start to lose me, because it's like, all right, then give me the date when the games start to really matter.
When teams figure out who they are.
Okay.
Maybe week 5, week 6, like, I forget, maybe it was Lou Holtz that said your identity is, you are who you are after week 3. Mm-hmm. Now let's say it's different now because college football is different now. Maybe week 5 or mid-season, you get a pretty good idea of what your team is about. And let's face it, Notre Dame had no idea, and we had no idea what this Notre Dame team was about when they went to South Florida that weekend.
Definitely.
None. And when we saw that, it was like, whoa, this season may not go as planned if this defense is going to be that bad. But
yeah.
Guess what? They got better.
Oh, I
got better.
I think if they play Miami right now, I'd say Notre Dame wins by 10 plus points. I think they could turn Carson back over. I think they would run the football a lot more effectively. If you look at just position groups, like, Notre Dame has better players at most position groups, I would say, than Miami, now that CJ Carr's developed especially. But again, I just worry about the whole we played this game as a regular season game. We covered that. People are watching that game saying, okay, this game's going to matter, and then it doesn't. And then it feels like that makes it feel like a preseason game. And then I get worried about, we already have the 12-team playoff, and you could argue how that makes the regular season less important in college football. It just makes this. It makes September for the sport and all these non-conference matchups feel kind of pointless.
I think it matters. Like, don't get me wrong, head-to-head, that matters. But it should not be the overriding factor if you're Notre Dame and say, just because we lost to Miami in the first week of the season, what did Miami do the rest of the season? How about the eye test? How about the coaches that are in that CFP room that say, you know what, I see something from Notre Dame. Like, they legitimately, as we sit here on December 3rd, they legitimately have a chance to go win a national championship.
Yes.
Can you say that about Miami?
No, I think I usually use Vegas because they have all the computer numbers already figured out. Like, Notre Dame has the 4th or 5th best odds to win the national championship. Yeah. I think I saw something, if they were to play in a neutral field, Notre Dame would be close to a touchdown favorite over Miami. They are a better football team than the Hurricanes, and I think that's why they've been consistently ranked ahead. It's just when these teams, I know they talk about the pods with the football playoff. I don't really buy into that.
You're not a pod guy.
Not a pod guy.
While you're doing a pod.
Yeah, that's a good point. While I'm doing pod of gold, yeah. I should clip that. But anyways, I think I don't really buy into that, but I do, when they're right next to each other, that's when it's going to kind of be hard to overlook the head-to-head if they're right there. And with the same exact record as well. Now, I get that Miami's losses are way worse than Notre Dame's losses. I mean, like, it is night and day.
It's bad.
It is definitely bad. But also, I think there's some games on Miami's schedule like that are probably, like, they probably played I forget the strength of schedule, but they probably played a tougher schedule. I think they have some better wins than Notre Dame does. I mean, beating Notre Dame is better than any win that Notre Dame has. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of pick some of your things, but I think if it's right next to each other, both at 10-2, that's where I get kind of hard. And there's no giant injury. There's no Jordan Travis from Florida State a couple years ago.
Let's run through the top 10 CFP. Okay, this was the fourth week of the college football playoff rankings show. Notre Dame opened way back in November before the Navy game. Might have been the Navy game. Mm-hmm. They opened at 10. They went to 9. They stayed at 9. And then the fourth one and final one on Tuesday night before the rankings come out on Selection Sunday, they dropped back to 10. So the top 10, Ohio State, 1. Indiana, 2. Georgia, 3. Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, 4, 5, 6. Texas A&M, 7. Oklahoma, 8. Alabama, 9. And Notre Dame, 10. The teams that are on the proverbial bubble, and I hate that word.
Yeah.
I hate the word. Like, when it comes to the NCAA tournament, remember when you still might be too young to remember when Notre Dame men's basketball was in the NCAA tournament.
It feels like a long, long time ago.
Well, you know what? It was a long, long time ago. It was over 3 years ago. But when Notre Dame was in the NCAA tournament or looking to go to the NCAA tournament, I absolutely categorically refused to write the word bubble. But the bubble teams, as we apply it to college football, BYU, Miami, Texas, Vanderbilt, they're 11, 12, 13, 14. Here's the thing about Miami. If the committee is all of a sudden going to pull the carpet out underneath Notre Dame's feet on Sunday and say, guess what? Head-to-head all of a sudden matters. Why would you not just slot Miami at 10? Just put them there.
I completely agree with that. Like that I do really agree with, because then it takes out the whole, win or lose for BYU. Then it all of a sudden is pulling the carpet out. Then you can just be like, okay, Miami, number 10, BYU wins, Miami's out, BYU loses, Miami's in. I get that. So that's the one area where I'm like, I think that this argument for Miami possibly leapfrogging Notre Dame if BYU gets blown out, I don't buy into that too much. I think it's a possibility, but I don't think it's very likely, because you're right. We just put Miami at 10. That's easy.
And here's the other thing that I think about when I think about Miami. Would they deserve to be in instead of Notre Dame because they beat Notre Dame? 2 caveats. Yes, because they won the head-to-head. And then if you're talking about Miami going to the ACC championship game and winning the ACC championship game, then that's a stronger argument. I don't know how you can say Miami deserves to be in. Well, Notre Dame's an independent, so they don't have a conference tournament. They can't win a conference championship. Impossible. Miami could have gone to the ACC championship. It doesn't even qualify, and Miami's going to sit home and say, we're going to let Duke and Virginia decide the ACC, our conference championship, while we're just going to sit home in South Florida and pound the table and say we deserve to go to the college football playoff.
Thomas.
That's fine. You want to go to the college football playoff? Win your freaking conference.
The 7-5 Duke Blue Devils, Tom. They're too much of a. Yeah, the AC. I mean, that's another conference. The ACC is an absolute mess.
Absolute grease truck fire.
Absolute
dumpster fire.
Absolute mess right now. I mean,
come on, Jim Phillips.
There is legit there's a pathway for them not to have a team in.
And there should be.
There really is a pathway for that.
I love Jim Phillips, but his head would explode on Sunday afternoon if they decided, you know what? We see you, Miami. We see you, Duke, if Duke happens to win the conference championship game. And we kind of see you, Virginia. But you know what? Thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Better luck next time. I think Jim Phillips would have throw an absolute fit. And they may run the Miami-Notre Dame game consecutively on TV for like 3 weeks in a row.
They might just cancel any basketball games they have on ACC Network and just put them on ACC Network Plus or something.
This game will not be seen tonight, so we bring you an special encore presentation of how Miami beat Notre Dame
by a field goal.
By a field goal.
Yeah.
Way back in August.
Exactly. No, it is really. it is crazy to see what has happened with the ACC in terms of that conference. I think they kind of messed up with some of their tiebreakers. I wasn't sure the exact way with the tiebreakers, but I know that like opponent winning percentage, like there were games that like you would be like North Carolina versus whoever actually played a part in the tiebreakers because that would improve Duke's winning percentage or something along those lines. It's an absolute mess. I mean, the football teams in the conference, besides like Virginia Tech right now, honestly, seem kind of like a mess right now. And the way they just decided the champion and who went to the championship game, yeah, it has been pretty rough. But Tom, one thing I wanted to ask you about looking at this right now.
I'm not taking questions.
You're not taking questions?
No questions.
No questions?
What do you got? Let's
okay,
go.
let's
give me something.
So right now with the bracket, let's just say nothing crazy happens. The most likely scenario, nothing crazy really happens.
Yep.
Notre Dame, number 10.
Yep.
Right now they'd be going at Texas A&M. Do you think they would switch that around to avoid a rematch or no?
Texas A&M is coming off a loss. They're not, just like Miami. They will not play for their conference championship game. It'll be Alabama and Georgia in Atlanta on Saturday. So would they drop them? Like they were at 3, right?
They were at 3,
They're
yeah.
at 3. They're at 7. Would they drop them to 8 and move Oklahoma up? Which again,
yeah, like that's
move. Okay, how's this? Here's a scenario. It stays like this. Like it stays. Notre Dame is in. We'll work from here on out with the premise that Notre Dame is in the field.
Yeah, I mean they're heavy favorites to make it right now.
And Notre Dame's the 10 seed, so Notre Dame's in. Let's say in said SEC championship game, Alabama just boat races Georgia, and you got to remember Kirby Smart has an Alabama problem.
Yes, he does.
Whether it's Nick Saban, whether it's Kalen DeBoer, whether it's in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, wherever. He has an Alabama problem. Alabama beats number 3 Georgia. Can you slide Alabama from 9 to 7, bump down Texas A&M and Oklahoma, 2 teams that are not going to play in the SEC championship game? Texas A&M and Oklahoma go from 7 and 8 to 8 and 9. And, oh, by the way, Notre Dame's going to Tuscaloosa the first weekend.
I think that makes sense. Because I was wondering that when I saw the bracket, the Notre Dame that really jumped out to me. The Notre Dame at A&M, like, there's not really much chance for Notre Dame to have rematches in the college football playoff, but that would be the one. So
and let's face it, it would be great for us from a coverage standpoint if Notre Dame was in the college football playoff. But if you get into the college football playoff, and I went on a couple radio shows earlier this year talking about the number 2 team in the field, Indiana, and all the Indiana football fans that have come out of the woodwork the last 2 years were like, wouldn't it be great if Notre Dame and Indiana played in Bloomington the first week of the season? The first week of the CFP? And I said, absolutely not. I do not want to see a Notre Dame-Indiana rematch in the first round because we've seen that. And we've seen Texas A&M, we've seen Texas A&M and Notre Dame. If Texas A&M and Notre Dame meet somewhere in like the Cotton Bowl or the semifinals in the Fiesta Bowl, that's a little different. That doesn't feel like the first round of this college football playoff is really just a regular season game. Like it's you go in, you cover the game, you come back out, and that's it. Like it's
a really cool non-conference game.
It's a non-conference game.
Yeah,
like it's treated like it's treated like just another weekend. To where after you get past the first round, then you're going to the neutral sites where it's media every single day for like 4 days. There's coaches' press conferences. There's player press conferences. There's media opportunities. You're in the city for like 5 days. I don't want to go to Texas A&M if that's going to be the opponent and parachute in on Thursday, say the game's on Friday, and then fly home on Saturday morning. It's just like covering another game. So rematches, get them out of here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the coolest parts about this 12-team playoff, probably the coolest part, is the fact of these is the way the first round kind of works out at these home sites and just getting matchups that would not normally happen. I mean, right now, Oregon would be hosting North Texas, and now obviously North Texas would be a heavy underdog, but that's a cool that's kind of an interesting game, or Ole Miss if they ended up hosting BYU or something. I don't know, Virginia, exactly, it's kind of that's a fun way to kind of view college football. It gives us different matchups. So yeah, I when I saw that Notre Dame at A&M, I'm like, what would that be, the third time in the past 2 seasons? Yeah. It would just be a lot of. I know they're not historic rivals or anything, but it would just be a lot of Notre Dame A&M recently.
It's like Notre Dame Ohio State. Like,
yeah,
it's a great game. But we've seen so much of it lately.
And how many different sports, too.
I know.
Men's basketball, women's soccer,
I just got back from Columbus. Notre Dame men's basketball lost a 1-point game in Columbus. So you have that. The soccer team played Ohio State. The football team played for the national championship. Ohio State has come here. Notre Dame has gone there. I completely get it. And it's like, at the end of the day, if they meet in the national championship, like, 2 best teams, okay, like, whatever. But no, I wonder too, I know that, they're more so on the bubble right now at number 10, but the only other question I have for Notre Dame is that I also noticed that if, by being in that 7-10 matchup, if they won that, they no longer have to go play Ohio State in the second round. You know what, though?
What's that?
And we just got done pontificating about rematches. I have never been to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Spending a week, and we've talked about this on the podcast too with Mike. When it's USC and Notre Dame in Los Angeles, that's my trip in ink. Like, Mike can have Northern California. He can go to Stanford. He's got family out there. He spends time with loved ones. Let him go to Stanford. I am all about being in Southern California, and being in Southern California for 5 days in the run-up to a Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you knew this, Jackson, but it's all about the sunset.
It is.
Over Pasadena. It's all about the sunset. I would be one to say, yeah, I'd like that, because look at what's the other option. As the rankings are right now, what's the other option? Indiana, back in that cesspool that's Hard Rock Stadium.
Would that be where it was?
Yes.
Oh.
Because it would be probably Ohio State would be in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, we know that.
Indiana would be in the Orange Bowl. Mm-hmm. Georgia would be in the Sugar Bowl.
Yes.
And Texas Tech would be in the Cotton Bowl. So those are your 4, I believe those are your 4 semifinal games.
Yeah.
Or quarterfinal games.
Yeah. That is, man.
That's rough.
That's
rough.
Okay, I'm just saying, selfishly, I completely agree with you. I think it would be awesome to go to the Rose. Like, I want to come to the Rose Bowl.
Cali, baby.
Like, I want to go to the Rose Bowl. I want to go to Southern California. I completely selfishly, I get that. But for Notre Dame as the team, I think the bracket actually aligns better for them as the 10 seed than it does the 9 seed.
Can you imagine the Indiana fan base if Notre Dame goes to South Florida and beats Indiana?
Yeah.
Curt Cignetti, what are you going to say this year?
I mean, like, look, I actually was at that Indiana-Purdue game, not a game at all.
Oh, that's right. You went to West Lafayette.
I went to West Lafayette, yeah.
Because the game was on NBC.
Exactly. So I had to, provide some local coverage. Funny story. I was after the game, I'm like getting video. Someone bumps into me. Curt Cignetti. So I have a great video of me turning around just like with Curt Cignetti.
With the camera?
Right. Yeah, with Curt Cignetti right in my face, basically.
Nice.
But yeah, they're a really good team. I think having the Mendoza factor when you have that's like a program changing quarterback. But yeah, that'd be a great matchup. But you're right. I would be really interested to see who would be the favorite in that one.
And from the old beggars can't be choosers department, whether it's Pasadena, whether it's South Florida, or New Orleans, which would be nice, or even Dallas. It doesn't really matter because all I do is look to my left and look out the window.
Well, I like
and this winter wasteland that we currently live in. Like, I knew what I was signing up for when I came to South Bend 33 years ago. Mm-hmm. But we're sitting here on December 3rd, and it already feels like it's February 20th.
Yeah, you were just saying that, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, like Los Angeles or even between Los Angeles and Miami, I like brushed off a foot of snow off my car over the weekend.
Only a foot?
I think like only a foot. But yeah, so that's the one thing that's the one positive I would say about moving down to 10 for Notre Dame, because at the end of the day, I don't think the Miami thing is that realistic. But man, the bracket could kind of align for them if what we expect happens if Ohio State beats Indiana in the Big Ten championship. I think Ohio State's the best team in the country, so avoiding them would be kind of nice.
If we were able to get Hunter Yurachek, who is the new selection committee chairman from University of Arkansas, AD, in a room, shoot him full of truth serum. I think the first words out of his mouth, other than, what are you guys doing to me? would be, yes, we really, really want Alabama and Notre Dame in this field. Mm-hmm. Fair?
I think that's fair. I mean, I don't get as conspiracy theorist as everyone else with the whole TV ratings, all that kind of stuff. But I
do.
I'm not as most, but I will say at the end of the day, like, I do think Notre Dame, Alabama, those types of brands, I do think they get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to things like this because, yeah, I mean, it would be awesome. It's awesome for the TV companies, to have basically those types of teams in the field for obvious reasons. But I also just think, I mean, what I'm coming back to right now between this Notre Dame and Miami thing is a lot of people are saying, oh man, Miami should be ranked or whatever ahead. Look at the AP top 25, like the media poll, We
don't know what we're talking about in the media.
Okay, fine. Look at the coaches poll.
They don't know what they're talking about.
It's like, it just feels like, I mean, I know we're talking about, they want Notre Dame and Alabama in the field. It's like every other poll looks like this. Like, it's just, it's like this is kind of the consensus.
It is. And the consensus is put Notre Dame in the field of 12.
Yes.
Now, we may have breaking news at 27 minutes into the show.
Oh.
I kind of buried the lead. We haven't even discussed this matter when it comes to the field of 12 in the college football playoff. But if you drive through campus, are you aware, Jackson Neill,
okay,
that the porta potties for the regular season are still out
really?
All over campus? Notre Dame's getting a home game. We're breaking news right here.
They're
still there.
They
are still there. I saw them. I left Purcell Pavilion last night. Notre Dame beats Missouri. Mm-hmm. Shameless plug. Go read about it in NDinsider.com. Notre Dame beats Missouri in the SEC ACC Challenge, and I left Purcell Pavilion about 1 o'clock. About 12:30. And I drove that. I was driving out, and I was like, "Wait, why are these even still here?" It's been quick math. 8. It's been 11 days.
Yeah,
since their last home game. Coincidence?
Okay, now you're getting a little too. There's no way. There is.
Let's
okay, Tom, you're confusing people. There's absolutely zero chance they're hosting a home game.
There is no chance.
There is no chance.
No chance they are hosting a home game, and that door, I believe, was forever closed when Oklahoma went to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama.
Yeah, that seems, because after that, that's the Notre Dame can't jump Oklahoma, like with the win like that. You can't have that. So I think, but that is a funny, they're just holding out hope for just some miracle.
They got their fingers crossed. If by some reason we host a home game, should we take the porta potties out?
Does the Lane Kiffin situation make Ole Miss drop out of the field altogether? Who knows?
Nah, I wouldn't drop them. I'd put them at 11. I would.
Ole Miss?
Yeah, I would put Ole Miss at 11.
Really?
I would. Or 9. Like, if you're going to penalize Florida State, and I know they lost their quarterback, so they lost a player. They're not only losing their head coach, they're losing their number one play caller. I understand Charlie Weiss is still going to stay there through the postseason, and he'll call the plays. But they're losing their head coach. They're losing their top play caller. They're losing several other assistants. And what's the mindset of those players? Either they're going to make an historic run through this field, or they're just going to be like, "What a coach went and got his. I need to go get mine."
I would agree if you wanted to move them down, but my take is you have to give them a home game. I think they've proved enough this season, and I know the whole Lane Kiffin situation, and I get the argument they're losing their play caller, all of that. I just think that they've done it. It's different enough from the Jordan Travis situation of Florida State because they still have all the people on the field. They still have all their players, and that's really what. That's really, at the end of the day, what really matters. So I could see docking them, but come on, Tom, you got to give them a home game. I think they've proved that enough of that. And
I'm a tough grader.
You are a tough grader.
Yeah. No home game.
Wow.
I mean, Notre Dame still had all their players when Brian Kelly left. How'd that work out in the Fiesta Bowl with Oklahoma State?
That's a good point.
That's
a good point. I don't know.
And plus, my twin brother's daughter, so my niece, is an Ole Miss graduate, and every time I get a chance to tweak him and stick him a little bit because they believe there is no having a discussion about college football with somebody who went to an SEC school.
Oh, it's
because they do not want to listen to anything you have to say. Well, what about nope.
It just means more, Tom.
It does. It
just means more. I do feel bad for Ole Miss though.
Yeah, it's a tough situation.
That was rough.
And apparently we're supposed to feel bad for Lane Kiffin because, boy, he almost got run off the road on the way to the airport and blah blah. Just please leave already.
The grown-ups make decisions. Make your decision, and that should be it.
That's it. We will have at the end of the show. There's no game this week, but we will have a Pot of Bold segment where we will predict the college football playoff spot for Notre Dame, in or out, or what seed. Before we get to that, what should be the level of concern, angst, nervousness, anxiety, whatever word you want to use, between now and, I believe, what time is it, like just after noon on Sunday?
It's like a 3-hour show from noon to 3.
It's the worst show. It's the worst show ever.
I try to just kind of have it on in the background so I can see when the bracket's coming up, but it is way too long.
It is way too long. So what should be the anxiety level for Notre Dame fans between now and Sunday? On a scale of 1 to 10.
Like a 2.
Really?
Maybe 3. Probably like a 3, or I guess like a 3. I think Texas Tech is a really solid shot to beat BYU again. I don't think you have to worry too much about that. And then I know I talked about the whole, the Miami situation of it all. I really don't think that. I think it's a possibility, but I think it's a very far out possibility. I think Notre Dame is pretty safely in because I don't see BYU beating Texas Tech.
We transitioned from college football playoff to Stanford. Did Notre Dame let an opportunity to have a more impressive victory over Stanford with however many people were watching at 2 o'clock in the morning? Did they let that opportunity slip away when they were up 35-3 at halftime?
I think you could argue that because of the final score being 49-20. Because you're right, I don't think many people were watching that. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think people didn't see them go up 35-3. They just see the 49-20 and go, they didn't. That's maybe a little closer than I would expect.
Yeah, they kind of messed around a little bit.
What's going on? They didn't.
They did not.
If you watch the game, they did not. So I think you could make that argument. But I think at the end of the day, if Alabama beat Auburn, which they did, they're moving Alabama ahead of Notre Dame in the playoff just to save Alabama. Like I don't think there was anything Notre Dame could have done in this game against Stanford to prevent that from happening.
It was a tough watch. We've talked about that. But we do have to offer flowers to one Marty Biaggi.
Yes.
With that play call. And Marcus Freeman for having the absolute stones to go for it on his 16-yard line.
I was
early in the game. It was basically the first play of the second quarter, and it's 4th and whatever from Notre Dame's own 16, and Marcus Freeman gets on the headset with Marty Biaggi and says, "Hey, you know that pop pass to Luke Talich thrown by Joshua Burnham? Let's dust that bad boy off and see if it works." And it goes 84 yards for a touchdown.
I'm going to be honest. When they were lining up to punt, I was like, this is a good chance. I went up, grabbed a glass of water or whatever. And then I come back to the living room, and I just see on the bottom, Luke Talich touchdown. My head was spinning. Then I saw the replay and then saw how it happened. But that was crazy. Marty Biaggi has to have some of the most creative fakes I've ever seen. The one against, what was that, Florida State last year where they had to call it back because technically it wasn't
It was a Virginia game.
Virginia game where it wasn't right, but it was like,
yeah, where Jack Kaiser was kind of ducking behind the punt block or the punt formation, where he's just kind of ducking there, and then he stands up and they give him the ball and he runs around.
Look, you can say whatever you want about like the the field goal kicking and the basic things of this extra teams, special teams unit at some points, especially like punting last year. But when it comes to fakes, is there anyone better in the country than Marty Biagi to draw these things up? Because these are things I've never seen before. Multiple times he's done it.
Just when you think you've seen it all, you get something like he showed against Stanford. And then he showed a little something more later in the game by saying, here's something for future Notre Dame opponents to think about. When we line up the punt, we're going to run Tyler Buckner out there and have him part of the punt team, but we're still going to punt it. So maybe next time when Tyler Buckner's out there and they see 10, and they're like, no, he's part of the punt team. Then he's throwing a pass like Joshua Burnham did.
It is just incredible to see like the different little things that they're able to kind of do. Like I said, I feel like I've been watching a lot of football, seen a lot of different types of fakes. These are not fakes that I'm used to seeing. Is that
a play that you would run on your video game?
If I could run it, yeah. If I could, I'd.
And you can't? Can you?
No, that's the thing. It's not even in the video game when I beat Matt Freeman.
Somebody's got to put that in there.
When I beat Matt Freeman or Bennett Wise.
Ouch. Matt Freeman, Bennett Wise taking strays in the show. Just more about Stanford a little bit. Jeremiah Love did his Heisman. How much did his Heisman hopes take kind of a hit? Where he goes 14 carries for 66 yards and 1 touchdown against Stanford.
He needed to. I didn't really think he was going to win it overall, but he needed to have done something just like ridiculous. One of those graphics where you're like 150 plus yards rushing, multiple touchdowns, something just crazy.
All in the first half.
Yeah, just something crazy where it's like blowing you out of the water. But then the problem was that, Julian Sayin able to then lead Ohio State past Michigan. I always kind of thought he was probably going to be a finalist, but I didn't think he was going to be really in contention. I thought that was kind of between Sayin and Mendoza, and I think it kind of showed.
I do have to say right now, Sayin and Mendoza, Diego Pavia is on line 1 for you.
Yeah.
What about him?
No, I completely agree. Like, I think if you look at this, you look at the stats and you look at what he's done and how important he is, he feels like he should be right in the running. It's just felt, honestly, the Heisman race this year, it just felt pretty, pretty.
Right.
I think I saw something like the new clock rules. Like ever since then, like some of the stats for quarterbacks specifically have gone down. So some of the stats you've seen from like Mendoza don't look impressive, but they kind of are. Yeah, I still just think I really just think it's going to come down to the Big Ten championship.
And speaking of Jeremiah Love, what is it about ending the season in California and injuries?
I don't know.
Jeremiah Love. Last year in Los Angeles, he tweaked his knee. He was never the same, even only except for the 98-yard run against Indiana. His knee was not right the rest of the way. And then this year, he's laying on the ground, and Stanford outside linebacker Wilfredo Abar drops a knee into Jeremiah Love's chest, basically his rib cage. And you could see it on TV. You don't want to say that's a dirty play, but that was an unnecessary.
Like what are we doing here?
Yeah, he was clearly down. Mm-hmm. Jeremiah Love was not. It was not the Navy game where he was laying on somebody. Could step up and get. He was clearly on the ground, and Abar just goes in and drops the knee right in Jeremiah Love's chest, and it's like, oh, that's a rib cage injury. He went to the tent. He went back to the locker room. He did go back in the game, but he was not himself, which I guess is okay for that game. But if Notre Dame gets in, and if Notre Dame is going to make a run, Jeremiah Love needs to be the complete opposite of what he was during last year's CFP run.
Yes, he needs to be Jeremiah Love like we saw all season, because when he didn't look like Jeremiah Love this season? That Miami game.
Yep.
And we talked about it.
10 for 33.
And we've talked enough about it. They lost that game. So you're right.
Wait, they did?
Yeah.
Head to head?
According to some, they got blown out.
I wonder if we can see a copy of that game.
Let me see if I can find that channel.
All right.
They obviously need him plenty of time. If they're, if the playoff game will be December 19th or 20th, plenty of time to get right. But that's one of the few guys on Notre Dame's roster where it's like, okay, if he's kind of done for, I know Jadarian Price is great, but Jeremiah Love is going to be, is he the best player in college football regardless of position? If he isn't, he's top 3.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what today is, Jackson?
December 3rd.
Do you know what December 3rd is on the college football calendar?
Early National Signing Day. You didn't see my quotes. Early.
There's nothing worse than signing day.
Yeah,
Nothing worse. Sorry. Tom Lemming, friend of the show. He's been doing it longer than I've been doing what I've been doing. Great guy. But I kind of I covered recruiting for our old Irish Sports Report at the South Bend Tribune for years. And when I had Notre Dame fans calling my home phone number back 30 years ago, asking about this guy or asking about that guy, I'm thinking, what are we even doing here?
That's pretty bad. I just hate signing day because covering it on TV, it's absolutely impossible.
How do you do it?
There's 27 names, and I get a 3-minute sports segment, and I got to cover the Notre Dame men's basketball win and this win and the playoff rankings. I'm like,
can you run 27 highlights in 3 minutes?
No.
So
I just get a couple highlights, just kind of put a full screen up, like, they're ranked, whatever. I hope for the best. You're right. But as of right now, I've been kind of following it a little bit. Nothing crazy has happened for Notre Dame today, right?
Nope.
And
okay. It depends on what rankings or what system or what you use. But they have 27 commitments. They have 4 5-star guys, and they're ranked top 5 nationally. One side, I believe it's Rivals, has USC as the best recruiting class in the country, and then Notre Dame number 2. And on another site, they have Notre Dame number 3. So with so many guys jumping, like LSU guys are going to jump, obviously, Ole Miss guys, Penn State, I think they're going to sign 5 guys.
They were behind, last time I checked, like Montana State and Harvard.
I thought you were going to say they were behind Temple.
I think they are too. To go Owls. Casey Keeler just got one of the best QBs in New Jersey to flip from Delaware.
Temple football talk here on the Notre Dame Pot of Gold. So we'll bring it back to Notre Dame. If you had to pick one guy out of this class that might make a move in 2026, you got a guy?
Is it Ian Premer?
I don't know. It's
Premer.
It's whoever you want.
I know the name. It's the tight end is that a 5-star tight end from Iowa?
Yes.
That's the one guy I do have some highlights of. So I have seen some clips of him. I think he was actually rated higher, but I dropped a little bit lower. But he's considered one of the best players in the country. Notre Dame develops. We know all the Notre Dame tight ends. I don't know. I think I could just seeing the clips from him. He seems like a guy that has the size, has the physicality. Could see him getting a couple catches next season.
If you're just going off 5 stars, like you picked a 5-star guy, way to go out on a limb, Jackson. You picked a 5-star guy.
Hey, I mean,
but I would pick a 5-star guy too, and that would be Rodney Dunham, the 5-star defensive end from Charlotte, North Carolina. Went to Myers Park High School, same high school that delivered Sir Muhammad.
He's ranked top 10 in the country, Tom.
But
you're just going out on a limb.
I didn't say I was going on a limb with Rodney Dunham. That's who I would pick, but I'm like, I don't want to do that because that's like Mr. Obvious. Like, of course, Rodney Dunham. Now, is Rodney Dunham going to play as a true freshman? So I tapped into the knowledge of our guy Matt Freeman. Matt Freeman getting 2 shout-outs
Look
on
at
the
that.
show today, and said, give me a guy that has a chance in 2026, and he gave me 2. Joey O'Brien, safety, and Aiden Pouncey, who's listed as a safety but could be a corner. So and he knows way more about recruiting.
He's really tapped in. Yeah,
like he knows these guys. He talks to their head coaches. He talks to their parents. He talks to their family members. So he's involved in it. And I'm just like, get him to campus, put a gold helmet on him, and then I'll worry about whether or not Joey O'Brien can play safety. Now, he's listed as 6'4", 180, and he's a safety. But if all things hold, and that doesn't mean it's going to hold, at the safety position next year, if Joey O'Brien can come in and get snaps as a true freshman, that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, that would really, really be something. We also have to mention, how about Dylan Faison?
How about it?
Name sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it?
It does.
#1 lacrosse recruit in the country as well.
Yeah, wide receiver, right?
Yeah, wide receiver, 5'11", 170.
It's hard to see a true freshman wide receiver.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just
No, but
I don't think
because how much did we hear about, hey, Logan Saldate? Watch out for that guy. Micah Gilbert. He's going to be really good. They really haven't seen the field yet. And that's a position as we get further into the minutia of 2026 where if Notre Dame football is going portaling, they're going portaling for a wide receiver because they're going to, hey, did you see what C.J. Carr did this year? You want to go come catch some passes with C.J. Carr? Come on over to Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I think the wide receiver is a position you can get in the portal. I just had to mention Dylan Faison. I think he can, maybe he'll make a bigger impact at our lot as a true freshman.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. Give me the pot of bold.
Give me pot of bold. I didn't realize we were doing that so quick.
So quick.
As I say, 45 minutes into the podcast.
45 minutes in.
Okay, I lost track of time.
All right. Pot of bold. Easy. We usually do a score, but give me one college football prediction. Is Notre Dame in or out on Sunday? And if in, what is Notre Dame's seed? I'm sure our answer is going to be both. So you go first.
Yeah. Yes, and they're in at the 10 seed. I think
Yes.
BYU loses. I don't think there's much drama going into this year's Sunday in terms of once the results happen on Saturday.
So Notre Dame's going to be in. They'll be the 10 seed. We'll see what happens with the 7. If they have to go play at Texas A&M, I guess that's okay. But it would be kind of cool to go to Alabama.
I really would. The Notre Dame Alabama. I mean, that is like. Also, like, I'm a big uniform guy. That would just look awesome on the field. Come on. Those are two of the most classic uniforms in all of sports.
Absolutely. So, all right, that'll do it for Pot of Gold. I don't know when we'll be back. Our next show. Are we going to do something next week? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
No?
I mean, I guess something crazy.
No, let's save it. We'll take next week off. We'll come back the week of the playoff game. Mm-hmm. Granted, if Notre Dame does in fact get in, we'll have our regular pot of gold show leading into wherever Notre Dame is going. They unfortunately would not be going home. Get rid of the porta potties. They played their last home game. So for Jackson Neill, for Mike Berardino, give me a shout out Mike Berardino's chair again. There's Mike Berardino's chair. He is not here. He'll be back with us on a next pot of gold, which will be here in a couple of weeks. So have a great weekend.
This has been the South Bend Tribune's Pot of Gold podcast, your home for insightful Notre Dame football coverage and analysis.